Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Excited for this one today. I think it's going to be great because we're going to be diving deep on how people are currently leveraging our AI and AI in general. We have a guest here today is our customer and partner, Blendy, and I'll let him introduce himself and talk to him, tell you guys a little bit about his company. But he's been a pivotal figure in helping us further develop our AI and making sure that it applies to other property managers. He's doing something special, and he's been one of our earliest adopter. We have a lot of updates today. We're going to give you also a sneak peek of what's coming. But I think most importantly, we're going to be practically speaking how to use this technology and why we think is the future. And we also have a little survey that we're going to be launching pretty soon. Blendy, why don't you introduce yourself and then we go from there.
Sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Blendy Mariki. I'm the CEO and founder of Delegate.co. We provide staffing solutions to short-term rental operators, and we leverage AI solutions to make property managers more efficient, make their operations more robust, and save time and money for them on a daily basis.
Thank you for that. I'm seeing a message that somebody says that they're not hearing us properly. Is everybody else hearing us? We can. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Just making sure. All right. Perfect. Yeah. Thank you for that. And then we're hosting this, but for anybody that doesn't know us, I'm Luca Zambello, founder and CEO of Jurny, and we have Jason Lopez, VP of business development. So, okay, let's get this going then. So, one of the things I would like to start talking about is like, because we hear so much about like the buzz of AI, and it sounds like it's so much a buzzword, and we understand there is hype, but oftentimes we don't see the practicality on how this can be utilized. So you as a host and as someone who manages multiple properties, why don't you tell us a little bit how you've been leveraging this technology and speak about from your experience? And I think most importantly, what do you think it's coming and why is it important for people to be really on top of this?
Yeah. So to give you guys a little background, I started as a property manager myself, and I actually started on the front lines as a guest experience specialist at a previous company, and kind of rose the ranks of the property management company. And in the process, I realized that it takes time and it takes a lot of energy to be able to communicate with guests effectively. And as you scale your property management company, the necessity for more staff, it just increases. And about a year ago, we started realizing that a lot of AI was becoming more and more prominent. Jurny, for example, started advertising much more heavily that they're able to save a lot of time for customers and for their clients on a daily basis in the guest communication side of things. So we needed a solution to really increase response time with guests and make the quality of messages that were getting sent out to guests much more robust. So it became a necessity for our company because we're providing people, we're providing staff members, guest experience specialists. We needed them to be more efficient. We wanted one person to be able to manage let's say 100 units, whereas before you needed 2 or 3 people. Um, and so as our company grows and we take on more properties and those property managers, they need more staff, we need to be able to go to them and say, listen, we can be very efficient in the number of staff members we provide you because we have a partner that can really scale the number of properties you can have and use AI to answer guests on a daily basis.
And I think that's awesome. And I wanted to also give it like a kind of like a perspective, like how much have you seen and how fast is it been progressing? Obviously, like from a journey standpoint, but in general, this technology, like, and I
Yeah.
think misconception a lot of people have is the rate of improvements of this technology and the difference that there is in just like a 12 months time span.
Oh
Right.
yeah, it's been insane. So, to give you perspective, just kind of big picture on the last few years, we used to be really impressed when like a software provider like came out with a feature that provided automated messages because that was like a game changer. Like, okay, I don't have to just, copy and paste this template that we have from, a notes section or an Excel into the OTA or the PMS. It that was a game changer. Okay. But that still required a human being to go in, take the template, figure out, okay, this is the response that we want for this answer. This is the policy that we have for this situation. And once once we started using early on Journey, it became like a thing of wow, instantaneously now we can respond to a query based on a set of frequently asked questions that people ask, and that it it saves so much time for the agents because now they don't have to refer to a knowledge base. The knowledge base is there. Their job is to make the knowledge base more robust, put the inputs in, make it more robust, so that way they're saving, 3 minutes per interaction with a guest. So it's definitely from the 2017 to now, it's been night and day in terms of how efficient guest communications have become with AI, and it's only improving. We're seeing right now the text-based uh, AI come to fruition. I'm very excited to see what happens in the next few months and years when it comes to voice-based guest communications, because that's the next frontier. If you can have someone answer phone calls for you, now that's a whole other dimension to AI we can't even think of right now.
Absolutely. And I think another misconception that I wanted to address for people using this technology. First of all, I actually want to share one data point that has been pretty mind blowing. So two things have been happening recently that I'm extremely excited to share is that this technology usually when you're developing software, usually you launch a piece of software and it's always below your expectations. What I mean with this is like you have high hopes for that piece of software, and then you end up knowing that there's so many holes within that piece of software. It's always like that. It's been like that for any software providers. For the first time, this technology, because even the people are really into it, even the people that at OpenAI itself don't fully understand 100% of it. I know it sounds crazy, but it is the truth. Oftentimes, it shocks us for what it can do to people even more, and it passes expectations. So it's the exact opposite of sometimes software development. And so we have actually observed ways in which people are utilizing the AI, and obviously guest communication is the biggest, and it has so many different layers, right? Because when we talk about guest communications, people think about chatbots, but we know that there's like that someone that comes from an operational standpoint guest communication goes way deeper than that, right? And Blandi, you are helping us developing our 2.0 version, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about it later because that has to go a lot deeper than that. It's like it's guest management more than guest communication, right? Like managing the whole part of
Yeah,
the job.
experience. I mean, the guest communications part of it is only I like to think of it in I always give this analogy that there's like, there's guest communications which or the whole guest experience, right? There's certain segments of the guest experience that can be completely automated. And then there are certain segments that require coordination. So, you might have a guest that, has a request. For example, there's an issue with the property or there's a request for maintenance and whatnot. Now you have to go the extra mile where the guest has communicated something to you. You now have to coordinate with people on the ground. Um, and I'm really excited to see where the technology goes in getting to that last mile of coordination. Because now, if you can have not just a system in place where you're communicating with guests, you have a system in place where you can coordinate with staff members, you can coordinate with your team using AI. That will make your operation a lot more efficient.
Speak into that because exactly like based on this specific feedback, which is it's just extremely important because people needs to have a distinction between like it's so hard to separate the noise from the legit stuff, right? And in AI, and specifically talking about AI, and I think that's exactly what's happening right now, um, with a few companies where are actually developing legit tools that have legit functionalities in this space. So I actually want to give a sneak peek specifically about this. So in a minute, I just wanted to say that we are running a poll. So if Marisol can run this poll, just answer this. Will be a topic of discussion very soon at the end, and we can hopefully it works.
I can answer that. I'll give my answer to this poll right off the bat. Hopefully it
Actually,
doesn't.
hold your thoughts at the end. I want to
Okay, yeah, very good.
answer after everybody has responded. But
This
to that
was
point, yes, I wanted to say one thing that what I was saying that how this technology is actually sometimes passing our own expectations. So I want to share a data point that we just found out about this just recently. It's two things. One is where before we even go do the deep dive in a sneak peek of the product, I want to look at together on how some of our users are using AI today, which goes way beyond guest communication. The second one is so for people that don't know, we have something that is called autonomous mode, which it wasn't. It's in beta. It wasn't meant to be like okay, go and just trust AI 100% to answer your guest communications. We just put it there if somebody wants to test it and try it out. Um, because there's some limitations today in this version on how it can escalate tasks. Because, like you just saying, Blendy, there's so much more than just answering the guest. If you have a problem, you need to be able to know how to fix it. You need to be able to escalate it. And but I want to say that the percentage of people using full autonomous mode 2 months ago, just to talk about the progress of this, 2 months ago was basically 0% of our users. You know what is today? 30% of our customers are using full autonomous mode. We have hosts today that they're like, I don't have anybody for guest communications. I'm letting 100% AI dealing guest communications. I was in shock when I found out these numbers. I was like, overnight, this happened. We didn't even expect this. This is how insane the rate of improvements of this technology is. It's absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah. There has to be, over time, there's also the confidence that people have um, in using autonomous mode, in using like an autopilot feature. There has to be that confidence threshold, and the these models just keep getting better, and so a lot of what I foresee that only increasing. I don't know. I can speak like to my business vertical. Um, so we have clients, property managers across the United States that we work with, and a big issue with them is they want to provide 24/7 coverage. They want someone there, behind a desk, even between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m., because they know that there is that possibility. I mean, we've all been there where a guest, calls or messages and says, "Hey, I'm locked out of the house," and then we have to guide them through the check-in, guide them to get into the house because I don't know, they went down the street to the wrong house. And those situations, though, they're very scarce. It doesn't happen very often, but you still need someone to be there in case it does happen. And so in conversations with a lot of property managers, they're like, listen, like that 30% of the time overnight, I don't want to have to pay for someone to be there the whole time. And so um like these autopilot features, they're really beneficial to property managers because people can actually just go to bed knowing that someone will answer, and if there's something that's an emergency, it'll escalate that to the right person and wake someone up. And that's a 30% savings right there. And that's value that our company can provide to property managers by, through these strategic partnerships.
Because I think that's also going to be key, is just how on top of you are of these technologies and how you can leverage it is going to be like, in my opinion, a big competitive. I don't want to influence the poll too much, but it's going to be a big competitive advantage very, very soon. It already is, but I think as this technology keep progressing, knowing how to properly leverage it and building your infrastructure around it, knowing the existence of it and how to leverage it, it's gonna be key. But with Jason, I would like to start diving a little bit on how sometimes we're surprised how people use AI within our software, and that goes way beyond even guest management itself. So, Jason, why don't you share us a
Yeah,
little on that?
absolutely. I'm excited to show some of this really quickly. Are we leaving the poll open, or do we have the results on that yet? All right, well, we'll keep it moving. Um, Results are in. Okay, great. So curious to see that. Really quick before I share my screen, I just wanted to address a couple of, oh, look. Okay, super interesting. I will be at a disadvantage as the biggest, the most answers there, and then I will go out of business being the second biggest. Okay.
Andy, tell us then, what was your answer?
Oh yeah. I I personally I'm in the human capital business. So, I there's this I've had people tell me before. They're like, "Dude, why are you're in a staffing business in 2024 when there are these, you know, advancements in AI that are going to put people out of work?" And my response to that is it will definitely decrease the necessity for a lot of staff members. It'll decrease the staff count. But what it will allow people to do is flourish, be more creative, and allow the best hospitality providers to take the AI and use it to their advantage. Basically, have like one or two people within a property management company that their job is just to continuously improve the AI by adding inputs to it. So big picture for my business, it's if I do not leverage AI on a daily basis for my clients, for my property managers, of course I'll go out of business. Because if there are tons of other companies out there that are shifting towards AI. And if I'm the one company that's like, no, none of our staff members use AI, then we're going to lose out and property managers will not want to work with us.
I think
So
exactly the point, Bundy. It's like is that it won't substitute fully humans, but you will have such a competitive advantage by utilizing this technology, and your outputs and your efficiency is going to go through the roof. And I want to put a data point we put together. Actually, Blendy helped us with this research. Is that I love data points because we're really starting to wanted to quantify. We quantified that somebody who uses zero technology can manage guest management outside, obviously, on the ground operation is about one person every 7 units, approximately. By utilizing technology, good technology, not AI, without just good technology, about one every 19 properties. So having automated messages, but not AI. Today, we have customers, many customers. The number is one every 50 properties. We discussed that when we are going to be, and it's within months, we're going to be doing the next release, which we're going to do a sneak peek at the end of this call, at the end of this webinar. We're going to get to one every 200. And then by the end of, by probably within 12 months from today, we're going to be one every 500. That's just to put things in perspective, guys. Like one person every 500 units it's a very big difference in efficiency. That doesn't mean that you as a host or as a provider, you shouldn't be having more than one person every 500 units. It means that you're going to hire more people, but for different scopes, because the guest experience actually is going to be higher, not lower, higher than it was before. Your ability to answer messages and actually take care of issues is going to be almost instant. So it's not going to go down, it's going to go up. And but at the same time, you're going to be able to allocate resources into things that bring better guest experiences or just bring better value to your guest. That segue into like you mentioned customizing AI and the customization of AI and how much you can use AI for yourself and the unique ways we can use that. So, Jason, now
let's do it. Okay, I'm excited. Oh, whoops. What did I share here? Google Chrome. Sorry, it's not letting me go directly into full screen mode. So I have to, you guys are going to see my Canva for a second.
Jason, is that a leather jacket?
It is a leather jacket. It's brand new. I just got it. Do you like it?
Put up a poll. Does everybody like Jason's leather jacket?
It's Michael Kors. It's pretty nice, right?
There you go. This is work with providers that not only are they tech enabled, AI enabled, but they're stylish too. It's very important.
I love it. Was that you, by the way, in the panda suit this past week?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you got some nice style of yourself, Blendy.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, jumping right in. So can you guys see, you should see a few different text boxes up on the screen.
Okay.
Is that what you guys are seeing?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So yeah, as Luca was mentioning, this is this particular slide here, we just wanted to kind of show you some of the different ways that people are using Nia within the system today. So this is I see a lot of our users in the webinar today. So if you are currently a user, you can use the on the bottom right hand side of your screen, there's a little Nia icon, and you have the Nia help desk and you have the Nia data scientist there. So Nia help desk was originally intended as a help function. So if you have an issue with the platform, how do I connect Airbnb? How do I do this? How do I do that? You can ask Nia, and it will explain to you how to complete whatever it is that you're trying to do. What we didn't anticipate was that users would begin to use that as like their own personal AI co-pilot within the platform. So these are some of the tickets that were automatically solved by Nia, just that I screen grabbed this morning, and you can see that they're using a lot of our users are using Nia as a co-pilot to rewrite descriptions, listing titles, or changing the tone of existing descriptions or titles, which was super interesting to us. Again, was not a use case that we even anticipated, but we're seeing more and more these days. So this is super exciting. This is, obviously a testament to the technology and how well it works. But this was one of the really interesting things that we discovered, just kind of diving into the logs and seeing how people are using this.
Can I add to that? I want to add one of my personal use cases on this, which has been helpful, especially for staff members of ours that they're new to the Jurny. So like we've brought in a few new people and they've had to get onboarded onto Jurny. And one of the biggest, I guess, pain points in using any new technology is the familiarity people have in the different functions a software has. So for all of you that have used property management softwares before, it's like a back and forth. A lot of times you'll have an onboarding, and then after the onboarding, there's certain things you have to sort of figure out on your own, or you have to refer to a knowledge base on the website. I'm impatient, so it's difficult for me to go through these knowledge bases to learn certain functionalities. What I've found with Nia is it guides you. If you have questions when it comes to functionalities within the software, it can guide you through those functionalities. Whereas previously you'd have to maybe go through the knowledge base or type in keywords and then read through an article. It's a process. So I found that to be very helpful from just becoming an expert at using the software, and then teaching our staff members to use it as well.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's I mean, it's good to hear that it's being used in that way, and that it's successful, because that's obviously what we intended. So
but I think it's the cool thing is that the adaptability goes beyond like what sometimes is even intended, right, like it just becomes this like almost interactions and almost relationship that you can start building with your own AI, and you can slowly start customizing it to your liking. So yeah, let's go dive deeper and also on the other use cases on also, I think on the customization of the tone, which I found also very, very interesting on how different people like to, because there's such a difference from before when you had this like preset things and they just work the way they worked. But AI is going to allow for like extreme level of customization and personalization, so will go alongside your own style of communication. And you'll be able to vary on a per property base. If you're like Blendy, where you have multiple property managers that utilize your service, you can customize that for each single one of your customers, which is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to dive into some of that. I do want to show you guys really quickly just some of the responses that you can kind of expect from the assisted response mode using Nia. I will show you in a few minutes how you can enable the assisted response mode if you're not already using it, but it's super valuable. Blendy talked about it a little bit earlier, but basically if you just click into a message thread that requires a response from a guest, you can see that Nia will automatically just suggest a response without you even having to prompt it. So huge time saver. I think Blendy mentioned time savings of like 3 minutes per interaction, which is, you know, a huge, when you extrapolate that out over the course of a month or a year, that's a huge amount of time savings, right? On the left-hand side, we have one in Spanish, just to show you that, and I screen grabbed these this morning just because sometimes it's hard to find like a live chat, but this one here is in Spanish, just showing, you know, that Nia is multilingual, so no worries there. In this particular case, the guest was asking about an early check-in, and Nia gave the appropriate response, which was basically, you need to ask us either on the day or the night before that you're checking in, and then we can let you know if that's going to be available for you. On the second example here, the guest was asking about availability over a certain set of dates, and Nia was accurately, successfully able to check the calendar and give the appropriate response, you know, to that guest that unfortunately there was no availability during the dates that they were requesting. So again, Nia has all the context that that it needs, or she needs, to be able to answer these questions on your behalf for guests.
And let's sit that for a second. Like, I mean, like the fact that you have gonna be able to have an infinite scalable team of guest support that are gonna be able to handle multiple different tasks for you on your behalf. You just have to train once, or yeah, you can optimize, but they will be able to handle it, and in almost any language. That's honestly unthinkable. That was unthinkable up until now. It's so mind blowing to me what this is already doing.
And it's better than Google Translate.
Yes.
Here we just have a few comments that we received recently, I think this week actually, regarding Nia, different customers and some of the testimonials they've kind of given. So, you know, you can take a look at those. But overall, you know, customers are loving Nia, and all the time savings that they're enjoying. And then the slide that Luca wanted to get to here, which is the tone customization. So we wanted to give you guys some stats on kind of the customizations and how people are using those options. I will again show you in the system in a few minutes how you can customize these different tonalities, and even at the property level. So humorous tone, less than 4% of accounts. Honestly, not surprised by that. But most people are using the conversational tone. And then we do have 11% of our accounts using professional tone, and almost 15% using the empathetic tonality there for Nia. So these are the tone customization options that you have currently today. We will keep improving these and expanding those options for you, for our user base. But interesting to see, I think, how people are kind of leveraging that specific feature.
I've personally speaking, just to give a kind of a use case of this, early on when I started providing staffing solutions to property managers, one big question, like main question that prospective customers would have is like, tell me, like, how do your guest experience agents how do they communicate with guests? Like, because I want someone that communicates in a really professional tone. And other property managers are like, we want to match the guest. So if the guest has a very like humorous tone or conversational tone, we just want to match that. So it's immensely helpful to automate this where we don't really have to go through the training of the agents of like telling them, okay, for this client, we need to be more conversational. For this client, we need to be more professional. It kind of automates it. And then the agents themselves, when they have to intervene at any point, they know now the tone because they've seen hundreds of messages with that same exact tonality.
I love that insight. Yep.
Absolutely. I'm oh, by the way, for anybody who has questions, there's a Q&A button. Like, feel free to ask any question you may have there, and then at the end of it, we'll try to address as many as we can. Because I saw some questions come in the chat bot. So now I think I mean, Jason, actually go ahead to share what you were going to share, and then I would love to give everybody a sneak peek on what's coming, because I think just talking is I'm fixated today on data points and misconception, but really everybody's used to think linear, right? We're humans, we all think in a linear way, but really, like, we need to start thinking, shift that and start thinking in terms of a compound increase in efficiency for this technology and what it can provide. So we want to show you what's about to come, because what we're doing today is game changer, but what's about to come is a lot more game changer. And why it's also important that no matter who are you using as a provider, you need to know and question, are you really being on top of this? Do you realize how important this is going to be? Because if you're not, how quickly this technology is improving, you're going to be at a big, massive disadvantage. I would have voted like Blendy did. You will be out of business in a couple of years if you're not on top of this technology. I don't want to scare people, but I mean this to really encourage people to be on top of it, because it is just going to create this massive difference between people who are going to use it or not. But go ahead, Jason. And
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. So, okay, so we'll start out just showing kind of what is available today and just how you can configure some of those things that we talked about. So from your Jurny dashboard, you can scroll down into settings and then NIA guest support. And this is the first thing you'll see is which version of NIA you'll be using. If you're on one of our free plans, then standard would be the only option here. If you're on one of our paid plans, NIA advanced will be an option for you here. And I do recommend, if you have that available to you with your current plan, that you leverage NIA Advanced. That's using the latest LLM models, AI models, and the most customization and the fastest responses. Within the auto response mode setting here, this is where you can select the assisted response mode that I was talking about earlier. So manual mode, when you go into a message thread, you'll have to click a button to get a response from NIA. Assisted response mode, anytime that you click into a message thread that requires a response, NIA will pre-populate it for you. So that's a huge time saver right off the bat. You can edit that response, or you can send it if it's perfect the way that it is. Or fully autonomous mode, which is what Luca was talking about earlier, where we have about 30% of our customer base using this already. And this allows you to customize. I mean, it's first of all, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're letting NIA not only compose the messages, but send them on your behalf. But you can also schedule that. So let's say for now you have somebody full-time, during working hours, but during the night shift, potentially you want to alleviate that, right? Like Blendy was talking about earlier. So maybe we say from 10 p.m. to, I don't know, 7 a.m., we're going to enable this. And so you can configure this as needed within those time blocks, and then the autonomous mode will only work within those time blocks that you've configured here. So this is something that you can leverage already today as well. And you can also configure this at the unit level. So if you only want, like, let's say, unit 1 from a certain time to a certain time, then you can configure it here, and you can select that unit. And then just that unit would be Monday 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. So you can configure that at the unit level. If you have different units or different properties that have different, time zones or something like that, you can configure that all here. Within the review section, you can enable the autonomous mode. I would encourage everybody to enable this. There's really no reason not to. If you have it off, then Nia will not respond to reviews on your behalf. If you have it on, it will respond to 4- and 5-star reviews on your behalf. It's only 4- and 5-star reviews for the time being, because you may want to dispute, a 1-, 2-, or 3-star review. Although there are some exciting updates coming to that we'll share in a few minutes as well. So I would encourage, I would again encourage you to enable this if it's not being used already. And then finally, the tone that we talked about. So this is where you can configure the different tones, between professional, conversational, humorous, or empathetic. And again, you can configure that at the unit level. So if a certain set of units, like in Blendy's case, he worked with many different property management companies, maybe one property management company wants professional, tones, and another one wants conversational tones. You can configure that all, and there's absolutely no issues with that. You have all the flexibility to do that. At the listing level, so if I go into listings and then just choose, one of these units, I have to move my Zoom box here. Here you have what's called FAQs for NIA. And FAQs for NIA is where you can configure all of the different frequently asked questions and answers that NIA should have to be able to answer those questions on your behalf. So this can be anything from like, what's the Netflix login, or, do you have partnerships for content creation, etc. So every property is going to be different. They're all going to have their own set of, frequently asked questions that they receive. This is where those can be configured, and then NIA will have that context to be able to answer accurately.
This is a very important section for autonomous, because if you're trying to leverage the AI to cover your night shift, this is where you go in and you put in, situational questions that can occur. That way, in the event of an emergency, let's say something happens and whatnot, now that guest has a point of contact where they're given like a phone number. Let's say, hey, listen, you're locked out, call this number. Hey, you're locked out, call the property manager. So I don't necessarily have to be up between the hours of 12 and 8, and in the event something happens, NIA will kind of guide the communication flow for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Underestimate.
Exactly.
I think that's also an important.
We've leveraged the FAQ section on the listing per listing basis by really looking at the types of, because there's always troubleshooting that needs to be done in this business. There's always guests that are very, they're very visual people. So like sending them written instructions sometimes doesn't help, because they're like, oh, it's, TV's still not working. Well, did you go through, step 1, 2, and 3? And so the way we've leveraged the FAQ section is by going into our knowledge base for our clients and looking at like videos that we've shot on like how to use, how do you use this oven? How do you use this TV? How do you use the hot tub? And we create those links and we put them into the FAQ section. So now when there is an issue that comes up where they're like, I can't use the hot tub. Well, we've already had that video made and we've made it a link. We've put it into the FAQ, and Nia just will suggest viewing the video. And that it saves.
That's something that I wouldn't think about how to use this. I love it because there's so much of the actual human creativity in how to properly leverage this. And the FAQ is really not to, it's to speak how much you have to, it's not like you just turn it on and it's going to work. Yes, it does, but it's not, you have to think about it using AI almost like training your own team of people, that if you can hire even an expert guest support agent, but if you don't train them, if you don't give them material on how to handle specific situation, how to handle specific protocols. They won't be able to handle it. And AI works exactly the same way. The beautiful thing, I think, is that you only have to teach it once with a little bit of a couple tweaks. Sometimes humans need to be told things several times. But
That's why we're in the position right now where we're really trying to leverage AI technology for property managers, because we realize that a lot of people are still they don't understand the process of really leveraging it. Like, there are people to this day that don't leverage like ChatGPT enough on a daily basis. I even catch myself like where I'm like, I have to ask myself, okay, is this a task that I can really leverage, OpenAI or ChatGPT for? What I've realized is that there's like 90% of workflows can be completely automated by AI, but you still need, to your point, Luca, you still need to have a knowledge base. You still need to know how to troubleshoot, the hot tub, and that's where kind of the partnership or unity between like a company like ours and a company like Jurny comes in, because we want people that actually know how to add the inputs, create the knowledge base. That way the AI can just run on autopilot from there.
Exactly.
Yep.
So let's finally get into the sneak peek that we saved that for, and we'll answer some Q&A at the end, but let's show a little bit of what's about to come in our
Yeah. Really quick, I do want to answer one question from the chat, which was regarding Nia creating actual guest reviews. So you do have you have a tab here right on the dashboard called Airbnb guest reviews, and you can click on review right there, and you can use Nia to generate these review responses for you on your behalf, and then you can save and publish this directly from here. This will be automated completely using Nia eventually. For the time being, this is how you can go ahead and actually draft those reviews and then save and publish them right there. Okay, I'm gonna move this box one more time, sorry. These Zoom controls are all over my screen. Okay, so you should be able to see, let me make this a little bit larger, here we go. So you should be able to see now what's coming. And this is Luca and I mean the whole Jurny team, we're super excited about this, because up until now, yes, the AI has been impactful, and you've heard from Blendy firsthand, how he's leveraging it within his organization. But this is going to be a complete game changer, because imagine being able to create custom AI agents that can accomplish certain tasks for you beyond guest communications. So you see a few of them appear, like a review specialist, a housekeeper, a finance specialist, but you can also create your own specialists. And so if I click on one of these, I can actually begin creating a workflow. And so in this example that we have here, this is a review specialist. And so you're giving it different conditions. So for example, if it's user leaves a 5-star review, do this. User leaves a 3-star review, do this instead. So you can give it all types of different branches and conditions. And depending on what is happening, the AI will go ahead and execute whatever command you've given it at that point. So this is one example, but another one of the examples, for example, I know Blendy is going to be excited about this. If a guest is messaging about an issue with the AC, the AI can then automatically escalate that to your HVAC person or your maintenance person. And you can give that information to the AI, so it automatically shoots a message to them, Slack, for example, or WhatsApp, and having that issue escalated immediately, live, real time, without guest experience agents or anyone else being in the loop there, directly to, for example, that maintenance person.
And I want to put this things in perspective. And by the way, this is like a lot of this has been thought out with the partnerships of Blendy, because managing several hundreds of units, you have the experience of what it means to start scaling a team and what the variety of requests that you can get is, right? So I think the biggest limitation of software up until today has been the how little customizable it was. But this is what's amazing is with AI, you can basically have almost an infinite level of customizations, infinitely scalable, and it can be applied and customized to your likely everywhere, which means that you can have a team that can handle things exactly the way you want it.
Yeah.
24/7, infinitely scalable. It's so game changer in so many different levels that we don't like. It's hard to comprehend until we're going to be seeing this in action. And this is not a release that's going to happen in 2 years. This is in 2 months. Users are going to be able to use this. This is the level of efficiency we talked about it before. How you're going to get to one person managing 500 units? This is basically it.
If I can kind of add a little bit more to that, I've worked with numerous property managers, and what separates the great operators from the good operators is their processes and procedures. If you are a property manager and you're trying to scale your business, you at scale, you spend a lot of money. For example, if every single time there's an issue with something at the property, let's say it's a maintenance issue or troubleshooting issue, it's expensive. It's expensive in two ways. It's expensive in guest satisfaction, and it could be expensive in calling out contractors or maintenance to fix issues. So workflows like this are super important at scale, because now you can say, let's say like this is the issue that has come in. Okay, what would a human being do before I go out to the property to try and troubleshoot the hot tub, or before I send the maintenance guy that I have to pay, $100 for a visit to go fix the hot tub? What can I do to troubleshoot those issues beforehand? So the workflow for that is like, here's the issue. Here are the steps that we have to take before we call the maintenance person. And then, 50 to 80% of the time, those issues could be resolved without actually going out to the property. By automating workflows like this at scale, you're now saving money and increasing guest satisfaction for your property management company.
Continuously, right? That's the crazy part. And that's why I'm saying it's going to be such a competitive advantage and such a game changer and difference between massive competitive advantage between somebody who uses AI or not. You're going to be able to offer a much better service to your guests, to your property managers, if you're managing properties for other people, deliver way more revenue at a fraction of the cost of others that are not using this. That's in practice what we're saying.
Not just the revenue part of it, but at scale, like if you're a property manager and you're looking to, add inventory, the biggest bottleneck a lot of people have is on the staffing side. And so it's like you can increase your revenue, but your costs are going to start increasing too. And the goal with any, business that you're trying to scale is, how do I increase the revenue without like ballooning my overhead? And so as technologies like this evolve and get better, property managers will be able to get to that point where they can add, an extra 50 units without having to be concerned about adding, multiple staff members. They might only need to add 1 or 2 from a company like Delegate. So definitely a game changer.
Absolutely. And if you do need stuffing, by the way. Go check out Delegate. Lundy's been an amazing partners of ours. Every customer that have been working with them have only great things to say. So just want to put that out there. I think we're wrapping up now. We're almost at the hour mark. So just want to make sure if there's any questions you guys want to ask. Obviously, you can also reach out directly to us. Or you know, many of you here are our customers or investors. So thank you for all your support and working with us. So yes, there's a couple questions I think on the FAQ. We'll address those and then we'll
rapid fire Q&A.
There's a couple questions if you wanna, you go ahead.
Yeah, so we have from Rosa, will Nia ever pull from the data that we have in our messages that we've previously sent to other guests instead of pulling from the FAQ section? For example, can our prior messages be used to train the AI instead of just the FAQ section? So within a conversation, there is, Nia has context of the conversation, but there will be in the future updates where she will also learn like in her permanent knowledge base from those conversations. So for now, it's within the context of the ongoing conversation or message thread, but in the future, yes, we will absolutely have that, Rosa. Mark says, will the recording be made available for review? Yes, there will be a recording sent out after we conclude the webinar. Let's see.
We also have a comment. Somebody asked, what LLM are we is Nia running on? And the main LLM we're utilizing, the main AI system is from OpenAI and GPT 4.0 now. Like a big bump on improvements. This is also so beautiful. What's happening now is that we are focusing on developing the infrastructure in the meantime. So it's like there's two teams working on it. There's Jurny's team building the infrastructure and all these channels for this AI to learn and get better and being customizable and be interconnected with multiple things. So I have access to FAQs, to access to availability, guest informations, learning, and then at the same time you're working with partners like OpenAI, in which they're constantly developing and improving their models. So, I mean, GPT-5 is going to come out soon, and reasoning think is going to be improved. Like the speed on which it can answer is going to be improved. So this is happening all simultaneously. That's why the improvements is exponential, because within a click of a button, every time there's a new model coming out, we can improve our system overnight, which is extremely game-changing.
I think we don't have any other questions.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. It was awesome conversation and great comments and questions. So thank you, Blended, for joining us and sharing a lot of your knowledge.
My pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure getting on talking to you about these advancements and how this is going to change the property management space.
Absolutely. Excited for the future.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.